Hi friends, welcome to my first YouTube video. I am taking a break in the shade, but I'm going to show you what we've been up to today. It is beautiful today. We are in mid 70s right now, getting up into the 80s today. We've had a really great week of mid 70s here in Michigan, and now this is like our last really nice cool-ish day before we're in the 90s all week next week. And of course, being in Michigan, the humidity is extreme and the corn sweat is on. If you can see a lot of behind the laundry line there, look at all the corn in the background. This is the Midwest and we have a lot of corn, and corn sweat is a real thing. And I think they said, the meteorologist this week said something like an acre of corn can produce 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water, like aspirated into the atmosphere. Anyway, the humidity is going to be around 100%, so we're just trying to get as much as we can done today before it's just unbearable to be outside. And let me tell you, today the humidity's up already and it's hot. But I did want to show you what we're up to today and tell you a little bit about what we got going on here. So this is our sweet corn patch. And as you can see, we are a little behind on the weeds. We have acres of gardens, flower gardens, wildflower gardens, flower gardens, I should say, perennial beds. And then our wildflower gardens, we've got, I think we counted or calculated between 1,200 and 1,500 pumpkin plants in, pumpkins, gourds, squash for our fall market. And we also have a veggie garden, just like a regular veggie garden with all our tomatoes and zucchini and whatnot in it. So we've been working really hard on those. Yesterday when it was nice out, we spent a great deal of time in this pumpkin patch and got quite a bit cleaned out. You can kind of see that over the corn here. I'm sitting down. I like to sit while I weed. Keep catching my laundry on the line there. Yeah, much better on my knees and my back than squatting or kneeling. So we are trying that today. This is our first year using this black greenhouse plastic, and it was suggested to me by my friend and neighbor at Stouchestike Farms. It's been working really well for them on their veggie garden, and we just have so much space to keep weeded. We just thought we'd give it a try, and it's actually been really great. So we just have it in our sweet corn patch, and then in the ornamental corn and the broom corn. And then we have over in the veggie garden, you probably can't see it, but over by the corn crib there we have a couple rows. We moved our strawberries into a permanent row and the blueberry bushes, and added some rhubarb. My grandma and grandpa gave us a whole bunch of rhubarb this spring that we are really excited about. We've got a whole row of it now as a permanent row in our veggie garden. And this greenhouse plastic is a lot different than, your weed fabric that you would buy at a big box store or whatever. This is what greenhouses use, many of them. It is permeable, so the water can go through when it rains, and it is very good at keeping the weeds out. It solarizes them basically. It's tightly woven enough that they're not getting any sunlight, but they are heating up and kind of cooking down there, so it is getting rid of those weeds underneath. And we're really hopeful that will be helpful next year, because the less weed seeds you have fallen down in your garden the year before, the less weeds you'll have the next year. That is the theory, and hopefully that will work. So what we're doing here, because we're so behind, we are pulling out all these grassy weeds, and we're just kind of laying them across this bare soil here. So one of the things that, doesn't necessarily guarantee weeds, but a big reason people have a lot of weeds in their garden is because they have a lot of empty soil, bare soil, and where there's bare soil, something needs to grow. It just can't be empty. So we are laying it across here and kind of using these weeds as mulch. You can see that the root ends, I've shaken them out as much as I can, and I've laid the root ends on the plastic so that they will bake and die and not come back to life. You guys know, if any of you have any crabgrass or quackgrass, it is ruthless, and so you really got to make sure that when you pull it out, it's not touching the soil again. Otherwise, it will just come back to life and start growing right where you already pulled it out. So this is what we're doing with this. We're hopeful that this coming week, when it's in the 90s, I'll come through and I'm going to water everything again. It's kept really moist. We haven't had to water it in several weeks. Because of this plastic here has really helped retain moisture. Usually we do like the cardboard and mulch, but we were just really behind the spring. We didn't have enough cardboard. We didn't have any mulch left, and yeah, we just ordered this. I think it's Vevor, Vevor, from Amazon, and it's been just a game changer for us so far. We'll see how it holds up throughout the season, and we'll just go from there. But what we're doing, we're using our weeds as bio material. This is gonna hopefully break down and feed our soil and keep the moisture in. So when I'm done weeding this whole patch, I'll come through and water everything. And I am also using some of our sunflower seeds from last year, and wherever there's a big gap in the corn, the sweet corn, I used a planter for, one of those little push planters, and it just was really inconsistent. So everything you see over there, the ornamentals, I hand planted every couple inches, and that came up a lot better than the sweet corn. The sweet corn's missing a few. So where there's big gaps, I'm planting sunflowers. We had a couple of volunteers, and we always get a ton of volunteers in our pumpkin patches. So we just love the sunflowers. We sell cut sunflower bouquets and wildflower bouquets throughout the summer, and you can here in Michigan, you can succession plant sunflowers into July even and still get blooms later in the season. Here's a big one that came up with the corn. This one I'm pretty excited about. A lot of our volunteers end up with a lot of heads. This is just a big one. I'm wondering if it's maybe one of my mammoths that volunteered from last year. And the corn, you can see it grows really well next to it. A lot of you may know sunflowers are somewhat allopathic, and they can, I think that's the right word, they can prevent growth of plants around them if they're too close, but we've actually never had any issue with that. This particular pumpkin patch is often full of sunflower volunteers, and we don't have any issues with inhibiting the growth of the pumpkins, and they're all looking pretty good right now. It was really wet and cold for summer in the last few weeks, so some of these guys over in the distance are a little stunted. So the pumpkins will be happy about the warmer weather when it's in the 90s, while the rest of us are suffering. The pumpkins and the corn too will be super happy, so we're glad about that. So basically I'm just going to work on weeding this. You can see that we've made it a couple rows in, and it seems to be going really well. The nice thing about this too is getting these weeds out of the way so that they aren't pulling nutrients from the corn. This quackgrass especially will pull nutrients, and we don't want that. We don't want to be stunting our corn at all. We don't want it tasseling out early and being small, because we also do sell the corn stalk bundles at our fall market at our farm stand, and we just want our corn to be happy. So that's the goal. See right here, there's a bare spot, so I put a little sunflower seed, and it's going to be so fun seeing all the different varieties that pop up. And as you can see in my box here, my little tub, we have so many varieties. Some of them didn't keep very well, like this is a mammoth seed and there's nothing in there. Some of these, I've just been tossing these out, but there's so many different varieties. We've got orange ones and double headers and yellow tinged petals and striped petals and purple and just all the beautiful colors of sunflowers. So it's so fun just to see what comes up. I did also, because we had so many left this year that I kept from last year's heads, I just went crazy, did a little guerrilla seeding, and over in this patch of clover field between the pumpkin patch over on this side and the wildflower garden, our main wildflower garden, I just threw a bunch of seeds in the grass or in the clover and watered it in, and we're just gonna keep an eye on it and not mow there and just see what happens. And basically what I'm gonna do today is just keep weeding, and just wanted to get started here and introduce myself a little bit and show you guys what we're up to at this moment before the heat hits us. I am sitting here with my lavender London Fog. If you don't know what that is, it's an Earl Grey tea latte. But I cheat, I do it the easy way, I don't do steamed milk. We got lavender flavored creamer from Wally World. They have a brand, I think it's a Walmart brand. It's called Too Good, and it's like their more natural brand. And it's just sugar, cream, milk, and lavender. I honestly don't know what they use for lavender flavoring, if it's natural or not, but we grow a lot of lavender, so sometimes I make my own lavender syrup, but sometimes I get lazy and I just buy creamer from the store to make my London Fog, and I love it. It's kind of too hot for this today, but I made it earlier and it's just really good, so it's just out here. And don't worry, I definitely did go in and drink some water earlier. I don't normally wear sunscreen either, but since I'm just sitting out here baking in the sun, I did put some on today. So trying to take all the steps not to get too toasted. But yeah, this is basically what we're up to. So I'll show you just a little bit of this process because it looks like a lot. It seems overwhelming, but it's actually going pretty well. Like I had said earlier, it's been, the soil is really moist. We have had a lot of rain, but normally this time of year, wherever we haven't either mulched or this year used this plastic, we would have had to water quite a bit already. And so like one of our other pumpkin patches, we've watered quite a bit already. But we have had pretty consistent rain. As a matter of fact, it seems like an unusual amount. This spring we had some pretty extreme flooding throughout Michigan. I think other states had some pretty extreme flooding as well. Not anything we haven't seen before, but after a few fairly low precipitation winters and springs the last several years, it just seemed like a lot, and it was really good though, especially we noticed for sure. We live on a river, and we also have a pond across the road where the ducks live, and the water table had gotten really, really low. So it was really nice to see that be replenished this spring. But in either case, rain or not, it just really seems like this plastic mulch has really helped. And so when, they say what the best time to weed is after a rain, right? Not immediately after when everything's soaking and you're just flinging mud everywhere, but when the soil is nice and damp and loose, and it's a lot easier to pull weeds that way. So just a little bit of this process. It's tedious, but it doesn't take quite as long as it might look. And I'm just pulling these out. If there's any dirt stuck, I'm just shaking it off a little bit, and then I'm laying it across again so that the roots are not touching the soil. They are just gonna sit there and bake and die and become ground cover mulch. These weeds right here, I don't know if I can focus on that. Let's see. They have all these thorns on them. These do not have any name at our house except for evil weeds. They are quite wicked. These thorns are pretty intense. I've stepped on many. I almost always garden without gloves or shoes. That's just the way I am. And I've stepped on more than a few of these and grabbed a few without noticing. But one little trick, if you like to garden without gloves like I do, this bottom section doesn't have any thorns. So you can't grab it up here because you'll just get stabbed. But here, there's one right here with all these little thorns on it. And what I do is I just dig around the base a little bit. This is why it's super helpful when the ground is loose and moist. And just grab it from the root. And then you can pull it up from the root. It's got some crazy long tap roots. And then you can pull it up without gloves and not stab yourself with any thorns. So there's a little trick for that. So this is just the process for this section. Honestly, if we hadn't let it get so tall, it still would have been quite a process because there's always going to be weeds. And when they're smaller, sometimes they're just harder to get a hold of. Like when you get all these little bitty tiny weeds and you just gotta like pluck them one by one. You can see all these little tiny pigweeds and grasses and these little guys over here. Whereas this big chunk of quackgrass, not that I want quackgrass in the garden, but it's a lot easier to pull. So I'm just grateful for that. It did get a little out of hand, but I'm just thankful that it's manageable. So here I am, I'm going carefully and making sure I'm looking that I don't accidentally grab a corn stalk and pull that out. Some of them are a little skinnier from being shaded. Oh, that root didn't come out. Grab that. And so I'm just using this to cover the soil on this side, and because there's a little bit larger gap between these two corn stalks, I'm going to make a little spot here. And we're gonna take one of our sunflower seeds. Let's see, we have so many different. There's these little black oil. There's your typical looking sunflower seeds, but they do produce a lot of different colors. Got some larger black ones, some maroon. Let's see, I can't remember what was the last one I did. This one looks good. This is a mammoth seed and it's pretty solid. So we're gonna try that. So I'm just sticking it in the ground here. Just pushing it down into that loose soil about half an inch. And then when I'm done weeding, the soil is a little moist, so it's gonna start getting moist in there. But when I'm done weeding, I'll just come back and I'm gonna water these rows and make sure all the little spots where the sunflower seeds are watered well. And we'll just keep going at it until they're good and strong, and then they should keep going well without any additional watering. If this ground cover and mulch works the way I'm expecting it to, which usually this type of thing does work well. Just again, it's been a while since we've had a week straight of 90 plus degrees and no rain, so we'll see. We're expecting storms. Today is Saturday. They're expecting storms maybe next Friday on July 3rd. Hopefully it will cool everything down a little bit for America's 250th 4th of July celebration. Super excited. We're having some family up. That's kind of our tradition, is to have family on Independence Day and cook out and do fireworks and just spend some time in the waters. You know, typical Independence Day things. We're just grateful for all the blessings we have in this country, and just really excited to celebrate. What a milestone, 250. It's going to be a long time before we hit another mark like that, and we're not going to be around for it. So we're just going to celebrate and be grateful for all that we have. You guys can see I'm already getting a little red today, but yeah, just wanted to introduce myself, and just really excited to start this channel. We'll see where it goes. It's been on my heart for many years. My mom has always told me we needed to start a YouTube channel for all the animals. We have so many crazy critters around here that they're always up to something, and they're very entertaining. And I've just never done it, and I love gardening. It's one of my favorite things to do, and was just really inspired by my friend's channel, Jessica Pranger. She is someone I serve on the worship team with at church. She's one of my favorite people. Singing with her is one of my greatest privileges in life, and she just has the cutest YouTube channel, her gardening channel. and just really inspired me and made me realize how much I love just gardening content and how just peaceful and enjoyable it is just to watch gardens, enjoy people's gardens with them and learn. And my family's been farming for generations. My immediate family ran a pumpkin farm for 30 years almost. The full farm market deal, pumpkins, hay rides, corn maze, cider, all the things. And it's just one of the joys of our life, but also just a lot of work. If anyone works full-time at a day job and also farms full-time, you know, it's a lot of work. So my husband and I are doing that as well, and just trying to keep up, just trying to do what we enjoy and what we love, and because there are weeds in the compost pile too, catch a load of that. We're just loving it. We're just trying to make it our own and do something different with it. And right now, that's what we're just continuing the pumpkins. I have only not grown pumpkins, like, how old am I? 34? 34. I've only not grown pumpkins like 3 or 4 years of my entire life, and maybe 2. And I just can't imagine life without it. So we're just leaning into that and trying to see where that goes, where it takes us. Will we ever open the farm market back up? I don't know. We've been closed for a few years and people still ask all the time. We've got big plans, and hopefully we can bring you along with us. We just don't know exactly where God's leading us at this point. We're just stepping in the direction that we feel He wants us to go, and just trusting Him to help us through it and guide us along the way, and we are excited. So also, if you do love gardening content, Jess's page, I think it's The Singing Gardener, Jessica Pranger. I think it's The Singing Gardener. Anyway, it's super cute. She has beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gardens, and it's definitely worth checking out if you like garden content. And I'm just really grateful for her encouragement and inspiration, and for my parents always encouraging me, and my husband just really encouraging me to just step out a little bit and do these things that I've always thought about and always wanted to do and just haven't done it. So don't we all have those things in our life that we know we should, and it's on our heart and we just don't do it? So today I just want to encourage you just to take that first step and just do it. And it might be messy, but we can do it messy and just do it. So anyway, that's what I have for you today, and I love you guys, and I'm so grateful that you're here, and I'm glad to share this with you. Have a great day.